All right, and we're back in here. We're a little late. Sorry about that, folks. We had some technical difficulties involving some electrical appliances and a dog. Boy, like having a dog is like having like a half-witted child or something, like a special needs child or something.
Half-witted. They don't understand their own strength half the time. They don't understand their bodies. Like
exactly, and he's big too.
Right, you squeeze through that, you're gonna tear it up, but they're gonna try to squeeze through it anyway. And they don't understand slowing down, so they just rip through stuff. Yeah.
Right, and then when he messes stuff up, I swear he comes to apologize.
Yeah, they do.
Ridiculous.
How did he apologize today?
He just kept bothering me, licking my arm and like wanting pets. Like, like he's always doing that, but like it was really like on 10 this time.
Yeah,
like
he was
after
sorry.
I scolded him for ruining the lights.
Yes, they will apologize in their way.
Yeah.
A lot of times it works.
Yeah, I guess it kind of worked.
That's what you gonna do.
What are you gonna do? It's a dog, you know.
Right. Yeah. It's a dog.
It's just a dog. All right. Well, thank you for joining us tonight, folks. This is Plunk. This is the show where we celebrate two teams, two baseball teams in one city of Chicago. These White Sox and these Cubs. I am one of your hosts, Emilio Bucks, joined by my co-host,
Kristen Petite.
Yeah, Kristen. Well, it's finally come to an end. Let's just jump right into it. We knew what the Sox were by June, right?
Yeah.
There was a couple times they won 3 in a row when you were like, is this it? Have they flipped the switch? Nah.
And then
Then they lose 5 in a row.
Yeah. That switch flipped.
The Cubs made a very strong push at different times of the season. They were like a month on and a month off, like 1 month good and then wet the bed the next month. And then they bounce back with a good month, wet the bed the next month. And it just so happens as the timing went, they wet the bed in the final month of the season. Kristen, what happened to the Cubs in this last month of the season?
Well, it's a lot of the stuff that was already happening. Like, they just really weren't good. They made you excited, but you could see how inconsistent that the hitting was. And then once Adbert went down, and then they had to scramble for a closer, and the bullpen was trash. And then, the hitting was trash. And that last 2 series where, Gold Glovers were not. Dansby, Horner, Happ, Suzuki all made critical errors in that last week or 2 of the season that just kind of like took them out. Then Justin Steele, clearly was tired, whatever. He became not that good. You were living on a prayer all season with Hendricks, and then
never got the Stroh show back.
No, never did. Before he got injured, and clearly he was injured at that time. He was bad. He was okay out of the bullpen. They probably should have kept him there because his starts were oof. So what happened is that they couldn't hit. Like the people who you paid a lot of money for couldn't hit in critical moments. Like Dansby, you love his defense, but my gosh, that offense was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It was Terrible. And then Ian Happ all year was, it's almost like he concentrated so much on his defense that he forgot how to hit. Suzuki came alive at the end. Christopher Morel barely even got to play anymore. They kept playing Wisdom. I don't understand. He should never even pinch hit. David Ross was just rossing it up, and
rossing it up.
just rossing it up out there. It was just really bad, and they picked the worst time. And it's a disappointment. I don't care what anyone says. Even though they weren't even supposed to get to this point, the fact that they had a 4-game lead in the second spot of the wild card, with not that much time left in the season, and they wound up dropping out of it.
It definitely is disappointing.
Mm-hmm. There's no moral victories with this trash. No. None. And all that excitement, and they play the exact amount of games as the White Sox. So no moral victories.
At least they didn't lose 101 games, but
yeah, that's true. I forgot it was that many.
Yeah, it was that many.
That's a lot of games.
It's a lot of L's. That could not have been fun. But, and I noticed Jed Hoyer said that this was a failure. They were planning to get to the playoffs and they didn't. So I at least he didn't try to load you up with some BS about moral victories and, well, we did better than we thought and all of that. Like he came clean and was like, yeah, this turned out to be a failure
because he's one of the reasons for the failure.
Yeah.
That's who he had for the bullpen. Yeah, he's one of the main reasons. They didn't get people that they needed to begin with. Mm-hmm. You knew you needed a third baseman. Yeah, you were able to move Bellinger to first, but he doesn't even really want to play first. He'll keep playing it, but that's not where he wants to play. You knew you needed a first baseman. Tauchman became Tauchman. Mastrobuoni had a little hot streak, but he was still Mastrobuoni.
Mm-hmm.
I like that PCA came up. Impressed with his defense. Offense was
can't hit worth shit
at all. Patrick Wisdom seems to be a nice young man, but he can go pack and go away. They could let go of Tauchman. They could let go of Mastrobuoni.
Wow, Cody Bellinger led the team with 26 home runs.
Yep.
Not a lot of power.
No, they were making a big deal. Oh, the Cubs have 5 men with 20 home runs. And Atlanta has several with 30, 20 home runs. And it took them till September to get to 20 for some of them.
Yeah.
That's not all these stupid moral victories. That's not a moral victory.
That's
26
Chicago.
home runs from your center field / first baseman, your left and your right fielder just
your power's usually supposed to come from your corners or your outfield. Right. Where's the power from Ian Happ and from Suzuki?
And don't count Candelario because he had most of his before he got here. So they had, I don't even know what their third base production was before Candelario.
Could not have been much with
Patrick Wisdom had the most, but
Nicky
struck out 800 times,
right, to get there,
and barely played. So one of your leading home run hitters was Christopher Morel, and he didn't even come up in the beginning of the year. So yeah, it's fine that Jed Hoyer says it was a failure, and take a look in that mirror when you're talking about it, Jed, and then pass it on to the Ricketts, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll continue to be a failure if Ross is Rossing it next year. And I just have a feeling you could see he is not a strategist. He made so many errors in who he played, when he brought in pitchers, what pitchers. He's just not good. He's not good. He's not good. He has taken them
Jed called him his guy. Said that's their guy.
Yeah, he is, because he says yes, sure, whatever, okay. He claps a little, makes a joke, gives a little nickname, Rossi, Belly, Chrissy, whatever his damn E's, all the nicknames end with an E or a Y, so they sound like yeah, he's your guy, but he's not the guy.
Right.
Put him in the front office with you.
Yeah,
He's
make
not the
him
guy
an advisor.
Yeah, he is not the man that is going to take you to a championship. The year he took them to the playoffs, it had nothing to do with him.
No, that was
Nothing.
just because they're on the strength of the players they brought
Exactly.
had.
Because those same players did nothing for you after that. So
Right.
it had nothing to do with David Ross, and it continues to have nothing to do with David Ross. Who did he develop? Nobody. Sound like I'm talking about the Bulls, Bears, Sox. I mean, it's just the same. We're supposed to be a first-class, world-class city,
And we are.
Yes, I know.
But
now when it comes
sports-wise, we are
trash.
third world.
Man, I don't understand. The fans do not deserve this garbage that these owners and all these other people keep putting out there for us to spend money on. And they surely don't lower any ticket prices. The ticket prices are going to go up to see garbage. Please.
And people keep going.
I know. Well, and then they give away a lot of free tickets. You can buy some at lower prices because it is a nice outing if you can afford it. It's too expensive though once you eat. You got to go on those family days at the White Sox where you can get that hot dog and be done. But it's too expensive and you're watching garbage. And then you're told every year, oh, we're going to get the pieces. You may get some pieces, but who's managing them? Who is strategically putting in the people at the right time in the right places? It's not happening on either side with these coaching staffs.
None of these coaches.
I'm about to say, yep.
None of these coaches.
I don't know anything about the Blackhawks coach, but when you go, and I don't know much about the Skies coach, but they almost made the playoffs and they lost a lot of their people. So I guess they're doing including their coach left. But if you go for the Cubs, the Sox, the Bears, and the Bulls.
Some poor ass coaching, some poor ass management, some poor ass ownership. It always starts from the top. From any company, if there's a poor culture, shitty work, shitty product of any company, it's always at the top. Always starts with the top. And when you look at we got one bum owner who owns two teams, so like we automatically got two teams who ain't gonna have a shot in hell because of the owner.
Yeah. The decision making of coaching in this city, it's baffling. It's baffling. And with David Ross, if you listen sometimes on the sports radio, they're all like, oh, Rossi's trash.
Tell us how you really feel about Ross.
I'm tired of him. I never liked it to begin with. I figured it was a yes man type of thing. He has zero experience and it shows, and he hasn't learned from anything.
What is it about ownership in Chicago? They like yes men. They prefer yes men.
Yes.
They prefer hiring coaches with no previous coaching experience or too much in the case of Tony La Russa. I think they like lowballing coaches.
Yeah, they do. And then they set up most of these coaches. Now, Billy Donovan wasn't set up with a trash team. Billy Donovan just doesn't know how to manage his team. But the other coaches, and I guess Grafal really didn't. Well, they played like they were trash, but on paper they were supposed to be a good team. With the Cubs, they got really lucky that Bellinger found it again, because when he first came here, everyone was like, "What? Yeah, of course he's gonna get one more season.
Yeah, he's gonna get another season. Crazy.
He might even get two. We're gonna find out he has some secret extension like Billy Donovan.
Like Billy Donovan, he's a secret 5-year extension that Rossby signed.
Because he did what? Because he allowed his team to lose a 4-game lead in the damn wild card, and then he lost to lesser teams.
Yeah, was losing to the Rockies and shit.
Yes. Now, you can't do anything about Ian Happ's error and Suzuki's error, but the
shouldn't have come down to just that.
Right, exactly. And the Braves are going to win it in the next inning. It was just Did you see that pitching that he had to throw out? And I don't blame him all the way for the bullpen. He made terrible decisions. Granted, he didn't always have the best. But my goodness, that tells you about how you constructed your bullpen. That losing Adbert, you couldn't find anyone to even come close. You didn't even have a setup man anymore. And you kept throwing out this damn Michael Fulmer for him to do the same thing every time you threw him out there.
You know,
and then you throw out Merriweather because he throws hard.
The Sox had some pitchers that they got rid of that the Cubs should have jumped all over, from a Kendall Graveman to Keenan. What's this guy?
The Keenan something. Keenan Thompson, isn't that the comedian?
The comedian.
Middleton.
Yes. Went to the Yankees. Yeah.
Yes.
There was a couple of guys that they should have went after. I don't understand why they didn't try to strengthen that bullpen. I mean, they did get Candelario, which was a good pickup,
right?
But they definitely needed that to strengthen that bullpen, especially for a run in the playoffs. And they just didn't pull the trigger on anything. And all, like you said in the beginning, all of the little things, the little nagging things, like they still have problems with this. All of that shit comes back in the end. Like you cannot escape any of that. Just like with the Bears in 2018, we had problems with that kicker all year. It was all year with that one kicker, and that was the one thing that came back to bite us in the end, was the kicker.
Everyone kept saying, you need to let him go. Where's some tryouts? Like, you don't want it to come down to him being the reason or the only way for you to win a game. And sure enough, with a little time, your offense got you where you needed to be. And you knew when he made the first kick before the timeout, like, he's not making the next one.
Yeah, no way.
Cody Parkey. And then he decided to go on damn Good Morning America or wherever he went.
He deserved what he got.
Yes. So it's like when the Cubs went on that terrible losing streak. And remember, it was like time to start thinking about selling. And then they caught fire. And there were some big offensive games by some people who've been struggling all year. And then we fell for the okie doke, like, okay, maybe they got it together. And then you would see a little bit like they weren't doing much, and then they would be able to come back. But it was always there. It was always there. And it was just
you knew that they didn't have enough power.
No, exactly.
We knew that all year. And when they overachieved, some guys were hitting and kind of overachieving.
Right. Yep.
But that came back to bite them in the end.
Exactly. Because then there was only 1 to 2 people hitting, and they were never up in the most crucial moments. It always seemed to be damn Dansby. He always seemed to be up there when you had to have a hit, and he was not. I mean, clearly, no wonder that Atlanta didn't fight to keep him. They had the best record. No, that's not their problem. Crazy Ace. All they can play is small ball. They don't hit home runs. They get a base hit and get a walk, and they stay.
Nobody to drive him in.
You can't win with small ball, and you can't win all the way, because the Cubs will steal a base in a minute. They'll get into scoring position, and then no one does anything when they were going bad. And that going bad happened at the worst time. They would have bases loaded, nobody out, not get anything. Strikeout, pop up. It was just bad. They need power. There's certain positions that everybody knows are your power positions, and they got to get them. They have to. I don't know if Candelario will be here next year, but I know Pete Alonso apparently wants to be a Cub.
Yes. I was just about to bring that up, and Deb, you might find that interesting. There's talks about Pete Alonso trade to the Cubs. I don't know who the Cubs would give up.
Right. Who do the Mets want?
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of heard about that today.
Like, I'm assuming that. Oh God, no. Is that God no? Because you want to keep them, or oh God, no, because
We
he's
shouldn't
all you
want him.
got. Yeah. Like, or is it not good for us? He's nicknamed Polar Bear. Well, I mean, he hit 217. He had 46 home runs, 118 RBI, and 217. That's keep him. You want to keep him? I'm talking like she's on the screen.
Right.
217. That's Patrick Wisdom numbers. His last 3 games, he went 1 for 11.
This was not Pete Alonso's best year, which is why his trade value is lower than normal. And you know, if you bank on him having a bounce back year, you know, it may be worth pulling the trigger on. But
A potential blockbuster.
what is the chances that the Cubs will strike gold 2 years in a row, first with Cody Bellinger and then turn around and get a comeback year with Pete Alonso? Like, I don't know.
It won't. Now, see, the expectations that Pete Alonso is going to remain with the Mets through next season. I don't think Lightning will strike again.
Unless it actually like strikes the team down.
While the Cubs need the power, they also need somebody who can hit for a little average. I mean, can we get 250 out of you? 250, 260? I know in the new analytics and all that
baseball,
the average
batting average is
isn't as
lower.
important. But I'm sorry, if you're only hitting the ball 21% of the time, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the few sports that you're considered great if you only do something 30% of the
30%
time.
of the time. I mean, you're great.
You're like, oh my God, you're the greatest.
Yeah.
Not 50%. 30%, we love you. But I'm sorry, 21% is the worst. That's terrible.
So where we go next year with the Cubs? Let's just assume Ross is coming back. I can't imagine him not. I would be shocked if he was not back next year.
He'll be there.
It would have to be him stepping down.
Yeah, and he's not. Why would you?
Yeah.
You get fans don't there's a lot of fans who talk about him, but overall the media and everybody loves him because he's Rossi. Where did the what's their name? Cubs go re-sign Bellinger. Stroman will be on a prove it year. I'm sure he's gonna opt in because he needs to prove
better now.
Yeah. I mean, it's 21 million. I'm not gonna opt out and try to go someplace and not make that much money. He needs to opt in. And I mean, the Cubs could still trade him, but I don't know who's going to take that 21 million, but maybe the Cubs will eat it. But if he opts in, this is his chance to show that last year wasn't like a fluke. Right. Not saying you had to be that good, but
you got to be solid.
Yeah.
More than solid.
Yes. The
got to be more than solid.
Yeah. They need, I mean, I guess Wicks has played his way into the rotation. They have to get bullpen help. Have to. Adbert will come back and he's fine. He's your closer. You don't need that. But you need real setup men that can slide into the closer role sometimes because you can't throw his arm out again. He can't do that. You can't have him 2 innings back to back, that type of stuff. But they have got to get a bullpen. They need a third baseman. If they don't keep Bellinger or he stays in center field, they need a first baseman. And they need better bench help.
How comfortable are you with the assumption that Pete Crow Armstrong will be playing center next year?
I think he'll be better. I hope so.
Yeah, because he did not do farewell against Major League pitching.
No, he did not at all. But I like that he got to see
what he needs to do.
Yes. I'm glad he got to face pitchers that he'll really see instead of all the minor league pitchers that the chances of them coming up are pretty slim.
Right. Definitely
So
be up. Yeah,
right,
you know,
exactly, because everybody needs good pitching. They're not
yep.
going to keep you down there that long if you're really that good.
If you're decent, you know, they're gonna pull you
Yes,
up.
yes.
Yeah,
So I like that he got to see real major league pitching, and he can take that and work on what he needs to work on. His defense is great,
absolutely.
but we have a lot of great defenders. The Cubs need hitting,
Mm-hmm.
um,
In the worst way.
because yes, because all that great defense still left them out of the playoffs,
It sure
and
did.
their defense betrayed them towards the end. So if your defense is going to betray you at the end, you better make it up with your hitting. I don't know what guru Dansby needs to see, but he needs to see somebody about his offense. It has
He's
to get better.
the hit doctor or
Yeah,
something.
it has to get better. We understand what you do and your numbers when they compared you against the other shortstops that were free agent and you're blah blah blah, but you got to hit. And yeah, so they need a lot. They still have a lot of work to do. So we'll see.
We'll see what happens. We got a
What about your
whole 3 months or so.
So what about the Sox?
You said it sucks or the Sox?
Sox.
Well, let's jump to the other side of the city, I suppose. I have the audacity to still be wearing this hat and this shirt
And shirt.
and this shirt. I got so much of this crap that I'm always wearing a Sox t-shirt just because I need to wear a shirt. And I got so many of them that I wear around the
That
house.
is always the first one you can grab.
Yeah, exactly. What can I say about this dumpster fire of a team? Well, let's start with the good. Is Luis Robert had a stellar year, finished with I think something like 38 home runs, something like that. Definitely had a career year, stayed healthy, proved that he can stay healthy because he looked a little injury prone like Eloy for a
Mm-hmm.
minute,
Mm-hmm.
and able to prove that he can stay healthy, and that was good. He's our bona fide star. Now for the bad, which there is mostly bad. Um, Tim Anderson with a very disappointing year. Um, I don't know. I definitely expect a bounce back year from Tim
Mm-hmm.
Anderson because if the Sox do pick up that option, he's in a prove it. He's in a prove it year no matter what happens.
Mm-hmm.
If the Sox pick him up, he's in a prove it year. Nobody's signing him to a multi-year deal I could imagine at this point right now based on the numbers he put up this past season. So he's got some work to do. Talk about a lack of a strategist. Is Pedro Grifol is also terrible, but he's definitely coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one of the things the Sox were not able to do was develop players. And the person that was in charge of developing players got a promotion. Got promoted to be the HNIC, the head nincompoop in charge.
Head nitwit in charge.
Nitwit. Yeah, that's some of you might know what that N can stand for too, but we won't go there. So had the audacity to say that they're going to try to compete next year. I don't know.
With who?
Yeah, compete with the Royals, who the Royals were better than them this year. Like,
That's bad.
yeah. It's like I can't think of one thing that they did well. There's nothing that this Sox team this year did well. They didn't hit well. They didn't pitch well. There were moments when the bullpen early in the season was nice, had come together. But once Liam Hendricks came back for 5 minutes and then was lost the rest of the year, I think that really sucked the air out of the whole bullpen situation and the pitching staff. They didn't run the bases well. Longtime first base coach Daryl Boston was relieved of his duties. And now we are going on the third year with a new hitting coach because the hitting coach was also relieved of his duties. So that'll be 3 hitting coaches in 3 years. I still don't understand the Pedro Grifol hire. Like, you took somebody from a losing organization in Kansas City and promoted him to head coach. That is just so Chicago. Such a Chicago thing to do. Take a loser from your division and give him a job.
When there were other options.
Yeah, always other options.
And I could see that type of hire in a rebuild because everyone's coming along at the same time. Everyone's learning.
Yeah.
But you brought him in when you had an established team.
Yeah.
Veterans.
And they didn't respect him from day one.
Mm-mm.
They didn't respect him from day one, and he didn't help matters by he wouldn't bench Tim when Tim was terrible.
Yes.
And that just showed that, he had no balls and he was intimidated by Tim. And
he should have called Jose Ramirez.
Take care of Tim.
That's right. Handle my light work.
Give him that quick 2-piece. Bloop.
Did you hear Tim Anderson's willing to move to second?
No, I did not hear that.
Mm-hmm. He says short. He prefers short, but he knows at this point in his career that this is kind of what happens. So that could open up the doors for going after a shortstop.
Well, they have this guy in the minors. Who's this guy? Colson Montgomery.
Okay.
I think he's with who they're going to be looking at. I mean, yeah, it would be awesome if they were like, "Oh, are you guys going to go and sign a shortstop?" No, they're not going to do that.
Because unless they're lying and they say they want to compete, they're going to have to go sign somebody.
They're lying.
Yeah. Well, they're
Jerry Reinsdorf is the cheapest man in professional sports. He does not believe in paying people, and he's all but said that.
I mean, you made Adam Benintendi your highest paid one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it was Grandal another year. And then when you're going to pay somebody some money, that's you choose some
terrible people to pay. They need to shore up the catching position because Grandal ain't it. He had that one spell in that 1 year where he was hitting the shit out of the ball, and he hasn't been much since. He's a terrible defensive catcher. He can't throw anybody out. Not even close. Johan Moncada is another disappointment.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be like a generational talent, and he turned out to be just very run-of-the-mill and injury prone. Can't stay on the field, and when he does, he doesn't have a good attitude, doesn't have a good work ethic.
Do you think they should trade him?
I do. I think they could let it. I don't think, aside from Luis Robert, I think anybody can
go.
They could go. Yeah. I mean, this is a rebuild. I mean, like, this not like put a dress on the pig here. You know, like this is definitely a rebuild. They are not going to compete next year. You had good players supposedly and couldn't compete. So what do you think you're going to compete with next year?
Right.
So I mean, and then they got no pitching staff now because they traded all their pitchers away at the
That's
trade
right.
deadline.
They
Uh,
have a lot of stuff they have to do.
I mean, name it. They need it.
That's a lot of stuff to then say you're going to compete.
Yeah, it's a
I
lot
mean,
of.
I guess you can say you're competing and really not competing for anything.
Yeah, I mean, because what's in saying it? Nothing. You
Yeah.
can say anything. I
Yeah.
can say I'm the king of Siam. It doesn't mean anything. It means nothing. I can say anything.
It's quite a thing to choose to say.
I know. I'm just disgusted.
Yeah, they have a lot of work. And you know, I said at the beginning when we were doing the beginning of this year, I'm tired of us having to rebuild in this city. But at this point, you
There's nothing left
probably
to do
should.
except rebuild.
Yeah. I mean, you gave up all your pitching. So how can you compete? You have to get all new pitchers.
All new
Are
pitchers.
there people in the minors ready to come up? Because shouldn't they
They
have come
got
up by now?
they got jack shit in the
Yes.
minors as far
So
as
now
pitching.
you do have to trade. And then the problem with trading now is everyone's value is so low.
Mm-hmm. Because everybody had career lows.
Yeah.
Except Luis Robert. You
And you
know,
can't get rid of him.
uh,
Or you
I hope
shouldn't.
you shouldn't, but
Because you
I hope
still
they don't
wouldn't get
waste
the
his
value.
career.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another problem. Well, maybe they think they can make it work with their position players and they will spend what money they have on pitching.
I don't know. You know, I know every person that they brought up are all busters. From Oscar Colas, who's a buster.
Yeah.
Lenyon Sosa is garbage.
How long has he been hanging
Carlos Perez ain't shit.
Are these any of the new people they got?
Yeah. Oh, and Corey Lee, he wasn't much of shit either. The new catcher that they got.
Mm.
So like just a lack of developing players.
Mm.
And you saw all the people that came up, and none of them have worked out to be anything. And that was Chris Getz' job, who's now your GM. I mean, these guys they don't know how to play. You know, like they have physical athletes, but they don't know how to play. Like they don't situational stuff in the field, like just underdeveloped. Terrible. They need to gut the entire farm system because that's highly flawed, obviously.
Yeah.
Based on the players that they brought up and how those players perform, that lets you know your farm system is flawed and needs work. And so maybe whoever Chris Getz hires to replace himself, it will be better than Chris Getz. I don't know. I doubt it. Chris Getz, if you ask him, probably thought he did a good job.
You probably did. Well, I guess when you get a promotion, you figure you did a good job.
Yeah, I mean, right? Unless he's got pictures of somebody doing something.
Like Charles Barkley said.
Yeah.
What Jerry Krause had pictures of Reinsdorf with a monkey.
Something. How he let him break up the Bulls.
Yeah. His power. Oh my gosh. This is just such a sad state of affairs.
So the Cubs will come back with expectations. The Sox will have no expectations and they'll suck. They'll suck out the gate. But at least if it's any consolation, at least we know that they're suck. Yeah. So there's not going to be any disappointment as a Sox fan next year.
Especially if they actually do the rebuild. Like this is the perfect time that fans are expecting and have resigned themselves and they're accepting of it. So do it while you have their acceptance.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. Like there's no expectation. We know we know you're full of shit when you talk about
Mm.
competing next year. There's no way you can compete
No.
next year. There's
Don't
no
lie.
way.
Don't lie and don't make any moves to get better for the future, and then play and be garbage next year, and then say, "Well, maybe we should rebuild." No.
Right. Just start
You
it
need to
now.
start now
Just start
because
now.
yeah, while you have the fans' acceptance, because that does not happen. That rarely happens. So you better strike now, because if you try to wait till next year, it's not going to be good. I mean, the Sox fans are mad, and no one likes rebuild, but it has to happen at this point. You got rid of everybody.
Yeah, it has to happen.
Like
I mean,
you don't
this
have a
rebuild officially failed.
Yes. So while
And I guess most rebuilds do fail across the
they
board.
do. Yeah. Because the Cubs window closed real quick.
Sure did.
And it closed because they made terrible business decisions, personnel decisions.
Mm-hmm.
They held on to people too long. And then in order to get stuff, you do have to give away a lot of stuff. So, Theo had to deplete the farm system to get something, and that's usually going to happen.
Yeah, and then the stuff that he got wasn't a good return on investment. Like
the only one that was good was Araldis.
Right. Like you could have definitely not gone after Jose Quintana.
When he got him, there was nothing about Jose
I
Quintana.
was like, what? You want a Jose Quintana? Like, are you sure?
There was nothing about him that said, that's the pitcher you need.
I didn't understand that at the time, and I was like, cool, take him.
Yeah, I bet you were.
I was like, cool, take him. We went in with Dylan Cease and Eloy for. How good would Dylan Cease in the Cubs uniform have been for you guys?
I mean, you couldn't have just tried to do with Eloy, because I know Eloy and Kyle Schwarber were the same. Right. I felt as though they held on to Kyle Schwarber too long.
They absolutely did.
I felt while it was hot, because you had Eloy, and while everyone wanted Kyle Schwarber, that could have been the time to do that. But you couldn't find somebody else to give up for Quintana.
Yeah.
Cease in this pitching staff.
Yeah. That's tough.
But yeah, I mean, okay, and I guess they made a good trade for Strop and Jake Arrieta. But overall,
right.
But the one that sticks out as one of the worst is the Quintana.
Is that Quintana trade? It was bad.
Choking me up.
It didn't completely work. I mean, we've gotten some good outings out of Dylan Cease, of course, and we had fun with Eloy for a little while. And but overall, it didn't get us where we wanted to be either. So,
so it didn't work out for both teams.
Yeah, really. Ultimately, it didn't not work out. So we talked about those two losing teams. Is there anything else to cover with them? I'm
no.
Yeah. Well,
because you got to wait so long before anything can happen now, because you got to wait for this long, drawn-out playoffs and World Series that I have not watched a single game.
There are a lot of wild card games going on now.
Yes.
I'm like, man, what happened to the old days of just the ALDS and the ALCS and World Series, baby?
Yeah,
man,
it's a lot. I mean, since the Cubs didn't make it, I don't care. But I mean, it was good when the Cubs were about to make it in.
Yeah, that was true. At least gave other teams a chance,
right. But now I have zero interest in it, and I'm a baseball fan. But the way my team disappointed me,
you're not ready to keep watching baseball. I feel like I've actually been watching the playoffs because I'm like, I'd rather watch some good baseball because I haven't watched any all year. Been watching the Sox play all year, and I'm looking at these teams. I'm looking at, did Minnesota end up winning that game?
Let's see. I even uninstalled my at-bat app.
Wow, you just let it go, eh?
Yeah, I'm done with you, baseball.
Stupid. Yeah, Minnesota. wins the series after going 18 straight playoff games without a victory. Minnesota won their wild card series 2-0 because
Who
it's
did they
best
play?
of 3. Toronto.
Okay.
So Minnesota
Right.
getting hot.
Texas won theirs against the Rays.
Texas beat the
You
Rays,
know,
and the
that's
Rays
another.
were so hot early in the
And
year.
see, you know,
Scorching hot early in the year.
and this is another example of you got to get some stars on some teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to spend some money, Rays. I know you're able to play so well with all your homegrown, whatever, blah blah blah, but you're gonna have to spend some money.
Yeah.
Arizona
absolutely.
beat the Brewers. Well, Brewers were trash.
Brewers are trash.
Let's see, the Phillies lead theirs and they're winning their game, so they're getting ready to win their series.
Well, because they're up 7-0 yet. They're about to win their series.
So they're all like sweeps.
Yep. Well, at least this wild card shit was quick.
Yes, because all these sweeps. Twins beat the Blue Jays, huh? Well, all right.
Yeah.
So who do people play next?
Do they play Houston next, or
let's see, what's today? Thursday
or Baltimore?
Let's see. When does it even start? Saturday? Yeah, Twins play Astros.
Okay.
Diamondbacks play the Dodgers. The Rangers play the Orioles.
Okay.
And then the Phillies will play the Braves.
All
Twins
right.
and Astros. Astros only won 3 more games than the Twins.
And that's crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's I mean, I won't go as far as to say it's wide open. I mean, Atlanta is just such a devastating team. I mean, they do it all. They got so many guys killing right now. Yeah.
And everyone
shout out to Tampa Bay for having the lowest playoff attendance in 100 years.
What was it?
I don't know, but they said it had been since like 1919 that they had in a playoff game with attendance that low. I mean, nobody cares. Like such a good organization. And you wonder why they can't sign stars. Well, they don't make any money because people don't go to the games. The city doesn't really support the team all that much.
How have they not have conversations yet about moving them?
I will trade them the White Sox. We could send the Sox to Tampa or Sarasota. And when the subject came up about the Sox moving, people asked me, would you still root for them? No, absolutely not. Mm-hmm. I'm not rooting for them if they're not in Chicago. Like I'm stuck rooting for them now. So if they left the city, absolutely not.
Well, if they did go to Nashville, that would open it up for Tampa Bay to come.
Hey, bring them. I think
MLB would want a second team in Chicago again.
Absolutely, yeah. If the Sox were to leave, a team would come here for sure. Yep. You're going to get an AL team here, for sure. And I would be a Rays fan so quick.
Man, you all would be so lucky.
I'd be I would flip the switch and not feel bad about it at all. Like, the hell with it. Throw this damn hat away and sign me up for a Rays hat, the Chicago Rays.
I guess they'd be the Chicago Rays.
Chicago Rays, let's do it.
You took off that like it happened.
I would take my shirt off, but I don't want to, I don't want to do that.
We should get a petition started to switch
teams. Like, here, you guys don't care about supporting baseball. This team is used to not having fan support.
Right.
So you're a match made in baseball hell.
If the Rays come here, they're going to get support because they're good.
Oh, yeah. And we're hungry for a good team, especially as Sox fans. So
consistently, Cubs are. You want this city? We would like some consistently good teams.
Yes.
Baseball, both sides, consistently good.
Yes.
We know you're not going to win the World Series every year, but
nobody does. Look, we get it.
Can you win? Get close. Get in the playoffs. Get close. Like
There's no reason these teams shouldn't be in the playoffs most years.
Mm-hmm.
You
It should
know,
be shocking that they're not in the playoffs instead of shocking that they made the playoffs.
true. And I guess the same could be said a lot of teams. Debbie's
And
Mets. The Mets should be in the playoffs every year. I mean, the Yankees almost are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's a shock that they're not this year, but it's not a shock that the Mets aren't in the playoffs. And the Mets should be better.
Yeah.
Historically, they should be competing more.
Yeah.
Just like the Sox should be and the Cubs should be.
Yeah. Yep.
Segue. Speaking of not competing, how about those Chicago Bears? The Bearlies.
Yeah, that's your new nickname for them, the Bearlies.
Chicago Bearlies.
Well. It's
real quick. Debs, our statisticians got some 19,000 fans. Wow.
20,000 for game 2. They couldn't at least go to some schools, get some school
get
trips.
Some tickets away, right? Like give this, yeah.
I mean, I don't see how they keep a team there. How they can't be well. So you said it, Emilio. That's why they can't spend any money. They're not making any money.
They're not making any money. Yeah. They got a trash ass stadium.
Who has something against somebody that a team is staying there? There are some other places, Nashville. There are some other places in this country that would support a baseball team.
The sports gods love certain cities and they hate others. The sports
like the Marlins have terrible attendance most years.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it was better. I mean, they're out of the playoffs now, but maybe or about to be. And maybe it was better.
Yeah, but they don't support the Marlins either. No, nope. they don't.
So it's like Florida's not supporting baseball. Why are you there? And then you keep rewarding Florida.
Damn. All right.
So supporting bad Bears. Yeah. If ever a team can be bad or every part of a team has played a role in their losses. Justin had a great game. Unfortunately, his mistakes came at bad times, but you're gonna make mistakes.
But your defense gives up what?
Well,
20 something straight points, 24.
Your offense gives you 28. You're supposed to win.
Supposed to win in this
even
league.
with
especially against Denver.
Right. Right.
You didn't need to score 70
to
beat Denver.
You were up 28-7?
Yeah. They should have won. At least they should have won 30-27. Wait. What was it? No,
it was 30. It was 31-28, right?
The final score.
Yeah. So it would have been 31-31.
Basically, what I'm getting at is they should have kicked the goddamn field goal.
Okay, so then the devil's advocate. So an announcer or a post-game person said, I don't remember her name, like Alex Brown and Lance Briggs were saying, you don't trust your defense? You don't trust your defense? And the young woman, I can't remember her name, who hosts that after show, says, would you? I mean, they had just given up 21 straight points.
Right.
And your offense has gotten you 28. So maybe you did trust your offense a little better.
Yeah.
Kicking the field goal and trusting that your defense was going to stop them. They would have at least
that was your better shot than.
Well, and then the play call, at least I would have kicked it as well. But I'm also not kicking it because I trust that defense.
No.
but I would have kicked it because you got to get some points.
You can't afford to leave any points.
Yeah.
And they left points. That's what killed them.
And then your defense, did what he was probably afraid. Okay, you don't kick the field goal, and then you let them get in the field goal position. And they're just they're just trash up and down, all around. Jalen Johnson and Eddie and Chase Claypool aren't playing tomorrow. And then Chase Claypool.
This
you know, all these people like, well, where the lies? He didn't lie. Maybe he didn't, but he has zero right to open his mouth.
He's a shithead.
He's garbage.
Yeah.
You know, if DJ Moore says it, okay, it's DJ Moore. Yeah. But there were so many plays that Chase Claypool didn't even attempt to block.
Yeah. I mean, he had a whole reel of just not even trying.
Yes.
And then they say he's got diva tendencies. He's not a good teammate.
That's when the Bears got him and they traded him for that second round pick. People from Pittsburgh were like, "Yes, have at it. Good luck." And somebody,
when a team trades a guy away, there's usually a reason.
Especially in the middle of the season. And so he
they traded away Antonio Brown. Like, well, there's a reason.
Yes. And all the Bears saw him have that one really good game before he got traded, where he was catching everything. One game. And they're like, this is who we need. So even if he's saying they're not using me right, how can they use you? You fail at everything they've tried. Get up there and catch the ball. You don't.
I don't care for Claypool. Yeah. I don't care for him either.
Throw it up there. 50-50 balls. You don't do that. Throw it right between the numbers. You're not going to catch that. Okay, block on this screen. You're not going to do that. So what good are you? How are they supposed to use you? So they're using you right now. Sit at home until.
So it's interesting. So it's like, what are they going to do with the guy? Like I think there was something in the last collective bargaining agreement where you can't just sit on a guy like okay, they send him home, he's still getting paid, but if he wants to play and be a part of the team and they're not letting him, I think there's something where they can't keep doing that. That can't be allowed, I believe.
I think they're looking for trade partners.
Yeah.
But they're probably over evaluating that. Like, now you can't look for the lot and you made this man sit home. You have lowered his value by what you're doing. I mean, he lowered his value with this play, and now you've lowered it even more because
now you're not even letting him play.
Right. So, I mean, if you get some new goalposts, then you just need to go ahead and send them from those goalposts. Maybe a new paint on the field, something. I mean, you've lowered his value. What you gonna get?
Yeah. I mean, at this point, you just need to get him out of your system. You know what I mean?
And Cole Kmet saying stuff like, well, losing does make people act a certain way, but you basically got to be a man about it. And even if, and for all of them, even if they're telling the truth about the coaching and all that, keep that in-house.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are going to tear us apart. You're just trying to, you keep giving the information. You give the ammunition. Yeah. You think someone's just going to ignore these things?
Yep.
Especially when you're losing and you look like trash.
You're losing bad.
Yes. And all
comically.
Yes. Like that fumble. Like, okay, that looked about right.
Yeah.
Fumble. And it's just, I don't know. But at this point tomorrow, Justin has to have a similar game. You want to see you want to see consistency. If he has a not that good game, and I know if you don't have time, if you don't have mass, and then adjust.
Tevin
Right.
Jenkins playing tomorrow.
I don't know if he's had enough time.
Oh, okay.
I know he's able to practice, but maybe. No, Chase Young's gonna have a field day on whoever's trying to guard him.
Yeah, this is true.
But I predict the Bears' victory.
You predict the victory. You
Well,
think this will be it?
Yes, this will be their first victory.
This will be the one.
It's gonna be ugly, but this will be the one.
It could be
Because
like
Thursday
a
games
12 to
usually
10
are ugly.
score.
Right. Yes. Didn't they beat? Or no, they got beat.
They got beat 12 to 10. I think by the same.
Well, the Commanders, right?
Yeah. It was an ugly game, nationally televised game as well.
It was probably a Thursday night.
I think it was, matter of fact.
Thursdays are usually trash games, so
yeah. The Amazon Prime game.
I gotta remember that. I gotta watch it on Amazon. Now the Bulls started practice.
On to basketball. Bulls started training camp. Here we go again. Here we go again.
Well, they're all saying the right things. They're all saying they're going to find a way to get Vooch more involved. Vooch says, last year they were like, when Lonzo gets back. Now they know he's not coming back. So they need to learn how to play knowing Lonzo's not coming back. Can they just get to the playoffs? I know there's no championship coming, but can we just get to the playoffs?
More than a play-in game.
Yeah. Can we? And then win a series. I just need a
strong showing, a playoff victory.
Yes. I need a playoff series win this year. That's all I'm looking for. That I will consider that a success.
So when I look at this team and it's like exactly the same, what would that say about me if I'm expecting different results from this same team and this same coach?
Well, you're a Chicago fan, so you are insane.
So I'm insane.
Yeah.
An idiot.
And
a
so
fool.
are
a fool. I'm a fool. Is what
well, I mean, yeah, we're a fool. I mean,
we're foolhardy.
We're also expecting for yet another year. Patrick, I was about to call him Wisdom. Patrick Williams.
No. I am not a Patrick Williams fan. I've been against this for years now. I'm not waiting. I have never been waiting on Patrick Williams to turn into anything. Because he is what he is. There is no leap.
The way you said no.
No, Patrick Williams. I can't take it anymore.
I was like, so it's another year of
the same shit. Billy Donovan winning the first half of the basketball game and deciding to do something different for the second half that doesn't work. Let's go through Vooch. That's working. I got an idea. Let's change it up. We're not going to go through Vooch now. DeMar, how do you feel about ISO ball? I swear. Like, what?
It was amazing.
Look, I don't know. Look, the Chicago Clubhouse podcast. This is Plunk. We act like we know what we're talking about. We don't know shit. I get it. But I'm watching this game and I'm seeing something work and then you stop doing it. I don't understand that. It didn't like it wasn't like, oh, the other team made an adjustment and started defending him now. You just stopped doing that.
Yep.
Time and time again.
How many games did we have to text each other, or you heard even Stacey King say, they just got to get back to going into Vooch because that was working. Vooch had 19 in the first half. Right now, he has 2 in the second half.
Billy Donovan.
It's like, and Vooch is going to give everybody else the ball. Sometimes when he shouldn't.
Yeah.
Several times I'm like, fool, you are right under the basket. Why are you throwing it out to Alex Caruso?
Right. Or Ayo DeSumo.
For a 3. Vooch, if you don't shoot that ball.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So, and then they have to get out of the, oh, it's my turn type of mentality. You know, Kobe might be hot. And then tomorrow, Zach will be like, okay, it's my turn. No.
Let the hot man stay hot. Keep feeding the beast.
They are terrible at that. It's like, all right, my turn. No, it's not.
Right. Let me get off now.
You're a star. You're going to get off. Kobe White only gets hot every blue moon. Let that man cook.
Let him cook.
I mean, even when Ayo would get hot, you know, every 80 games.
When Ayo would get hot?
You know, I think he hit 1 in a row.
1 in a row. He's on a streak. 1 in a row. Yeah, I wasn't sure about that one. Ayo get hot.
You know, and I know this is a 3-point lead. But if your team can't do it, then go for 3s, get fouled. I mean 2s.
Go for 2s.
Go for 2s.
2s is better than nothing.
Nothing. You're shooting these terrible 3s. You have a 15-point lead. Now you got Ayo and Alex Caruso shooting terrible 3s. Zach shooting one from the damn half court. And then 2 minutes later, you're now down by 5.
Yep.
And so now you're still shooting these 3s to try to get back. And at the end of the game, you've lost by 12.
Bullish.
It's the same story over and over.
Over and over. And speaking of that, Deb has an interesting comment. Both of you admire for continuing to be true to your city's teams. Is it good for us, Deb? It's not good for my health.
No, it's not. You see how angry we get. No.
Can't take it with the Patrick Williams talk.
The emotion that Patrick Williams brings out.
I've been so done with Patrick Williams for so long, and it just grinds my gears when we're still because you still hear it. Like, well, Patrick Williams is gonna take the step.
Yep. Oh, Patrick was working out with DeMar. He did it last year, and you saw no difference.
He's been working out.
5 a.m. with DeMar. So
what?
What's that mean?
DeMar's daughter has got more dog in her
Look,
than
they made
Patrick
a very
Williams.
big mistake not letting her come to that next game.
See, that was
Cool schmool. She could have made that up.
Oh, this is playoffs, baby.
That's right.
This is family business. What are you talking about? School.
I'm encouraging truancy. They would have been all right. It's just one more.
It's just one day. It was the end of the year, anyways. I mean,
they needed her to scream. It sure was. This is when you're having all your damn popcorn parties.
Yeah, exactly. Movie day, pajama day, and stuff.
Right. Into the school year, everybody's checked out at that point.
All the teachers are checked out. They would
and the kids too. Like, are we watching this today? It was all about movies.
Yep. Oh man, so buckle up, Chicago sports fans. We got some football tomorrow night. Bears possibly looking at down the barrel of a 15 straight loss dating back to over a year now.
That's
sad. That's really sad. Rumors of Coach Matt Eberflus's firing if they lose tomorrow. I don't know what that does.
Yeah, that doesn't do anything.
What does that do? Who are you going to replace?
I mean, when you think about it, Ryan Poles didn't fix he didn't fix the problems. They kept talking about how much money they had, and What do we
They didn't get
always
a pass rusher.
Lawrence Holmes was going over like the top pressures or whatever, and the guy Adrian Hutchinson has 27. The entire Bears team has 22 pressures. 22 for a team.
For a team.
One man on Detroit. And Khalil Mack was in that top 5 list with 22. The whole team has as many pressures as Khalil Mack. So, well, yeah.
The quarterbacks that we play, they're back there like filing their nails and like.
He made Baker Mayfield look like Brady.
Send a text real quick.
Yeah, and then the offensive line, like the money wasn't spent that well. Like even what he did spend it on, they're turning out to not be good moves. So yeah, Eberflus makes mistakes, but tell me the coach that doesn't. We watch games against the Bears and they make mistakes. Anytime you let the Bears score 28, there were plenty of mistakes happening on that side.
There were a lot of mistakes. Yeah, but this Bears team scored 28 on
coach is he the greatest? No. Maybe this is his last year, but in the middle of the year, why? What's that changing? If you want to change somebody, then you change Luke Getsy.
Yeah, right.
That's
I just and then what are you gonna do? You're gonna promote Luke Getsy to interim coach?
Please.
You don't have a defensive coordinator to promote.
So he leaves, and you can't think that Luke Getsy's going to do better, and he can't even run his offense well.
No. That's why I'm like, what are you going to fire him for at this point?
Yeah, like, come on now. You also dealt him a bad hand in the team.
Yeah, I mean that's just a typical Chicago knee-jerk reaction is to
fire. I have a good reason to say that for the Cubs and you for the Sox, but because they both have gotten full years to show they're not good. I know Eberflus had last year, but that was trash of a team too.
They were, it was okay last year because they were tanking, and you know what I mean. Like,
and they look like they're tanking again this year.
Yeah, it definitely looks like
it. Chris kept saying they actually look worse than last year.
They do look worse than last year because they were competitive last year.
So
even in all of those losses last year, they were competitive. They're not even competitive. We haven't seen we saw the great game by Justin Sunday, but we haven't seen any of those great runs. You know what I mean? Like,
it's like, why do the Chicago Bears always coach things out of players?
Yeah. I mean, for all of his flaws, they even ruined Mitch.
Yes, exactly. Like, I mean, when you think about, even if you go to other quarterbacks past them, when like Jay Cutler, a strength of his was the tight end. Marks decided you didn't need one.
Let's get rid of the tight end.
Why are you getting rid of someone's safety net? And then you got rid of someone as good as Greg Olsen. Then you brought in Martellus Bennett. I like Bennett, but then he had other interests outside of football, so John Fox couldn't take that.
Right.
So then you had to get rid of Martellus Bennett. And you've been looking for a damn tight end since. I mean, Cole Kmet
ain't
but yeah. So like we take away, and even let's go back to when I know it's probably time for us to go. Even when Eddie Jackson was good, and then they changed things around him, and then he became not that good and effective anymore.
Right.
Like we ruin people. Musa Muhammad once said that this is a place where wide receivers go to die. It's where quarterbacks go to die.
Quarterbacks go to die.
Good, bad, in between, it doesn't matter. We will ruin you.
Yep. That's what they do well.
Yes, that's their development. Let that man run. Stop trying to force him into something he's not. Maybe it'll come later, but in the meantime, in between time, roll him out and let him run.
I mean, I think Luke Getsy just gets too much more credit than he deserves for what he did in Green Bay. I mean, I could be a quarterback coach for Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Just Aaron, go out there and kick ass. Yeah. I mean, what do you got to do with Aaron Rodgers? That's so hard. Go play. Yeah. Give him a pat on the back. Yeah.
Right. By the time Getsy got there, Aaron Rodgers had been in the league so long. He didn't need any coaching like that.
No.
Well, enjoy. I mean, I'll be watching it. I don't know. I'm acting like y'all enjoy that. I'll be sitting there too,
I'll
man.
be sitting there angry looking at the TV tomorrow night.
Well, thank you, Deb.
Thank you, Deb, and we will be in touch. For all of the people who have tuned in throughout this season, through the good and the bad, mostly the bad, we thank all of you from the bottom of our plunked hearts. And with that being said, Kristen, this is it.
See you in maybe we'll have a hot stove episode.
We'll have a couple of hot stove episodes here and there. Maybe when the baseball starts maybe during the winter meetings or something.
Yeah.
You know. Maybe the Sox will have Sox Fest again this year.
Mm.
We should try to go to one of the fests.
I know the Cubs are having theirs.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll have to look them up.
All right, folks. Well, that's our show. We thank you for tuning in. This is Plunk, the show where we celebrate two teams, one city. Chicago, man. I'm Emilio Bucks.
I am Kristen Fertit.
And we are signing off. Thank you, folks. Peace out.